Reach for Jesus, Chapter 1, The Journey Begins. A young girl drew water from a nearby well. When the bucket was full, she pulled it up and sat down to rest. The water in the bucket was almost as heavy as the pain in her heart. Her father had divorced her mother a year ago today and left them with almost nothing. Now that she herself was of marriageable age, her mother would choose a husband for her before the year was over. "Can I use the well now, Sarah?" Another girl's voice broke through her thoughts. Sarah turned to see her old friend Carinia. Carinia had not been much of a friend since Sarah's father had run off. In fact, none of Sarah's friends had really spoken to her this year. "I'm done," Sarah said as she stepped away. Carinia stuck her nose up in the air and brushed right past her former friend. "So, I've wondered for you now, what did you do to make your father want to leave?" "Why didn't you go find him and bring him back?" she said mockingly. Sarah picked up her pitcher and walked back to her house. She was not going to stay here and take any verbal abuse. Everyone blamed her for a crime she did not commit, and no one understood how much she was hurting. Would God not grant her one friend who would stick by her side no matter what? All Sarah ever wanted was a brother or sister, but God had never answered her prayers. It was almost as if he had abandoned her. Something Carinia had said kept running through Sarah's mind. "Why didn't you go find him and bring him back?" An idea formed in Sarah's mind, and she ran home to tell her mother. "No, absolutely not," Sarah's mother said after they had sat down to supper. "But Mother, I've heard people talking who have traveled to Israel. They say that this man is more powerful than anything they've ever seen in their entire life. He's performed many miracles in front of them. He can bring Father home, I'm sure of it." "We live in Greece, for heaven's sake, Sarah. Do you have any idea how far it is? Or how many dangers there are? You're only 14 years old. A young girl like you would not survive the journey. I could not lose my only child. No one should even attempt to travel that far alone. It's not safe. Besides, it's all just rumors you hear on the streets. They're just stories. No, Mother, I believe they're real. Nonsense. I will not have my daughter chasing after fantasies. I'm sorry, but it's out of the question," her mother said firmly. They ate the rest of their supper in silence. That night, when Sarah was sure her mother was in a deep sleep, she gathered the supplies she would need for her journey and headed out the door. During the same time in Rome, a young centurion named Felix was trying to save his younger sister from dying. She was very ill and getting weaker every day. He would do anything to keep her alive. After a hard day of combat training, Felix headed home to see how his sister was doing. Dirt and sweat covered his face, but he didn't seem to care. When Felix arrived at the house, he knelt beside her bed. He felt her forehead to see that she was still burning up. Aurora opened her eyes and sat up. She started coughing up blood. He patted her back to try and get her to spit everything out. She stopped coughing, and he walked into another room to get a damp cloth to put on her forehead. "Thank you," she said as he handed her the cool damp cloth. "How was your day today?" she asked him. "Not too good. In a couple of days we march through Greece. I'd much prefer that to combat training." "Felix, what are you doing? Your General Quintus is not a good man," she reminded him. "I have to. I know what I'm doing. Now, don't get yourself excited. You need to rest. Please get better soon because I miss you," Felix said as he bent over to kiss her feverish forehead. The mother and father peeked in the room to check on Aurora. "Can you go to the kitchen and cook her some stew?" The mother asked her son. "We want to talk to her." Felix walked out the door and down the winding stairs. "How are you feeling?" her father asked. "Not too well," she said as she lay back down. Aurora's face had lost its rosy color and her skinny body was reminiscent of a skeleton. "Tomorrow we are taking you to another physician. We are proud of Felix. We're working hard to help you get better." Felix came up the stairs with a bowl of steaming tomato stew. Their parents helped Aurora sit up again. Her hands were too shaky to grab a spoon, and so Felix had a spoon feed her as she gulped down the delicious soup. "Well, we'll check on you later," the parents said as they left the room. "Aurora, you have no idea how much I would cry if you died. You're my little sister, and I'm supposed to look out for you. No matter what, I'm always going to care for you. You gotta get better." Tears welled up in Felix's eyes as he held her bony hand. The next morning, when Felix woke up, his sister was on his mind. quickly ran to her room to see if she was doing any better. He knocked at the door. There was no answer, and panic gripped his heart as he thought about the worst possibility. He brushed that thought aside. Maybe she's still sleeping. He knocked a second time. Still, there was no answer. He had a good reason to be afraid now. Felix didn't want to open the door for fear of what may lay before him, but he held his breath as he slowly cracked open the door and saw her lying on the bed. She did not stir. He crept up to her and listened to her heart, but no heartbeat could be detected. His eyes filled up with tears at the realization that she had breathed her last breath in her sleep. The memories of their days together swept through his mind. When they were children, they had fought all the time. He remembered tearing the head off her cloth doll and all the tiling that went on in the house. They weren't very nice to each other sometimes, but at the end of the day, they always made up. Felix remembered how, when they were small, their parents had given them a dog to take care of, and the dog had brought them closer together as siblings and friends. A few months ago, their dog Octavius had run away, and he wasn't even there to comfort Felix in his time of grief. The thing that had bonded them together was gone. Felix was always there for his sister whenever she needed him. She used to come to him with all her problems. There was a boy that Aurora had liked her whole life, but their dad didn't trust him and would not let her marry him. Aurora was furious, and she had told Felix about her plans to elope with the boy. But he had talked her out of it. 2 years ago, when their father was going to choose a husband for her, Aurora fell ill, and so the engagement party was postponed until she was recovered. But she did not get better. Now at only 17 years of age, she was gone, and nothing could bring her back. It wasn't fair that her life had been taken away this early. She was such a kind and gentle soul. She always gave back to the world and reached out to others. Although she was very strong-willed and feisty, she was the best person Felix had ever known. Felix snapped out of his daydreams. He remembered that he had to tell his parents that Aurora was dead, but he couldn't seem to move. The weight of his body suddenly became too heavy to carry. Felix walked to his parents' room. They woke up and rubbed their eyes. Aurora died last night, Felix said as a stream of tears released from his eyes. Aurora's family spent the day mourning their loss. They had a ceremony and buried her the same day. The next day, the Roman soldiers headed for Greece. They arrived in Athens a couple of weeks later. Sarah was walking along the road when she saw the soldiers coming toward her, so she dashed behind the trees. She peeked out and watched as they passed by. As Felix glanced at her, Sarah could not help noticing that he had the same expression on his face that she did. Felix saw that the young girl looked hungry, but he quickly turned his face away and pressed on. After all of the soldiers had gone, leaving a trail of dust, Sarah made her way back to the road. All day, Sarah could not get the soldier out of her mind. From all that she had heard and seen of Romans, they were known for their brutality and lack of feelings. But the man she had noticed had grief written all over his face. Felix could not sleep that night, so when all the soldiers were asleep, he took a few loaves of bread and ran away from their camp. He caught up with Sarah and handed her the bread. Sarah was afraid at first and backed away. "Don't be afraid. My name is Felix, and I'm here to help you. You must be hungry," he said to her as he handed her the bread. "Thank you," she said as she took the bread. What is your name?" he asked her. "Sarah," she told him. "So where are you headed?" "I'm traveling to Israel to see a man they call Jesus. People say he works miracles." What Felix didn't know was that his commander Quintus had followed him and was listening to their conversation. When she said she was going to see Jesus, his interest piqued. "That's far away. Are you traveling alone?" "Yes." "A young girl like you shouldn't be traveling that far alone. There are too many dangers." "So I've been told." "Well, I should be on my way now. Thank you for the bread," she said as she headed off again. Quintus yanked Felix aside the bushes. "What are you doing here?" Felix asked. "Is that really important? The girl is our link to find Jesus. I have heard from my friends over there that he is planning to overthrow our government. In fact, I was planning to station you over there, but I think it would be best if we use the girl as bait. You need to get her to take us to him, earn her trust. You've done a good job so far." I can't do that. She's just a child. If you don't do that, what if I say you lose your position as a centurion of this army? Do you think I ever cared? Quintus slaps his cheek. Hold your tongue, boy. There's no way to talk to your superior. Now, if you don't get her to take us, maybe I could persuade you by threatening to kill your parents. You better not lay a hand on them. I will do much more than that if you disobey your orders. Felix jumped out of the bushes. Sarah, I want to give you more supplies for your journey, he called. Will you come with me? Sarah turned around and paused for a moment. This might be a trap, she thought to herself. But on the other hand, he does seem pretty sincere. She followed Felix, and Quintus sneaked along the trees because he did not want Sarah to know that he had been watching her. Felix and Sarah arrived at the soldiers' camp. So where are your supplies? She asked. We'll give them to you in the morning, but you must rest now because you have a long day ahead of you. The next morning, Sarah woke up to a beautiful ray of sunlight sparkling over the horizon. She decided to go for a walk and quietly crept away. Felix, who had not slept a wink that night, came out of his tent around the time to get something to eat. He saw Sarah wandering off and decided this would be a perfect opportunity to get her to trust him and take her to Jesus. He followed her and finally caught up with her. Are you running away? He asked. We haven't even given you any supplies. Just want to go for a walk. It's a wonderful day. Felix had a flashback to when Aurora was 8 years old, and she had woken him up at dawn because she wanted to watch the sunrise with him. He remembered how he had just rolled back over in bed because he thought she was crazy for getting up so early. What are you doing? Sarah's words broke through his memories. I couldn't sleep last night. Why are you going to Israel to see Jesus? He asked. It's a personal matter. Can I come with you? Someone in my family is dying of an illness. Even though there was some truth in what Felix was saying, he felt awful about twisting the truth. My commander is also in need of healing. If we come with you, you'll greatly benefit from our protection. You're serious about this, aren't you? Of course. I guess so then. There's nothing stopping you from coming with me. Come on back to the camp and we'll gather supplies for our journey. That was simple enough, Felix thought to himself, but on the walk back to the camp, his conscience started to get a hold of him, and he realized he couldn't follow the plan anymore. Sarah, we will actually not be traveling with you, he said as they approached the camp. Sarah looked surprised. I can't explain it now, he continued, but after I give you supplies, you must run away as fast as you can. It is very important that you follow my instructions. Okay, she said, confused by his sudden change. Felix handed her food. She put food in the bag and took off running. Quintus saw her running. What are you doing? Why did you let her escape? Go get her and bring her back, he yelled at Felix. I'm not going to use her anymore. I don't actually believe what I am hearing. Felix, you don't actually care for this girl, do you? I'm just not going to treat her like dirt. What you're doing is wrong. I'm ashamed of who I am. I am ashamed to be a part of your army. Quintus' face turned scarlet red. No one can ever replace your sister. Aurora's dead, and that girl can't bring her back. She is dead. Felix drew his sword out and yelled in anger. He slashed Quintus' hand. Don't you ever mention my sister again, he yelled. I am no longer a part of this army. You're not allowed to leave, Quintus said as he grabbed Felix's arms with his bloody hand. Blood gushed out and streamed out Felix's arm. He broke free from Quintus' grip and ran away as fast as he could. After him, you fools! Quintus shrieked at the rest of the soldiers. Bring him back to me, and then he can be an example to the rest of you what happens when soldiers disobey their orders. And while you're at it, bring back the girl, too. The other soldiers shuddered at his words. In fear, they all climbed on their horses and chased after him. Quintus also mounted his horse and followed close behind. Felix darted into the woods where he bumped into Sarah. Sarah might have screamed, but Felix covered her mouth just in time. No time to explain, he said as he dragged her into the cave.